Welcome back to another episode, People of the World. It's another collaboration with Mental Warfare and the Release Valve. I am your co-host, Kyle Span, and again, I am celebrating life with my right-hand man, Sean Hanlon. My boy, what's going on, bro?
Man, it feels... honestly, a couple weeks feels like a month, 2 months. I feel like so much time has gone by, and yeah. I have been... I literally itchy like a fiend almost. I gotta do something. I gotta get down there. I gotta record something.
Yeah,
man.
No, for
it
sure.
Feels good to be back.
No, absolutely. I'm cheesing right now. It's like right. I was like, oh shit, the countdown. But that kind of reminds me, man, of just how crazy that your body adapts, right? We're just an evolving machine, and your body gets used to whatever it gets used to, And so the 2 weeks off, it's like, man, it's almost like how do we do this again? You know what I'm saying? It's like getting back on the horse,
Yeah.
So it's so crazy what your body gets used to. And that's food for thought, just in trying
for better or worse, right?
Exactly. If you're trying to get better, knowing that, because the process is rough, right? Trying to rewire our brains, deprogram the thoughts and behaviors and habits that we had in the past, and it's not easy to break those cycles when you've been doing it for 36 years, or 36 plus. Obviously I'm 36, yeah. Right? And so it's just really interesting to see, how the body reacts and how it responds and how it adapts to everything, man. But it's great to be back, bro, and to talk to the world, to reach out to the world, to try and connect and express. It's been a crazy summer. It's been a hell of a summer.
Wild summer, man.
Hell of a summer, man. In pun intended. But it's also been super duper hot for real, literally.
The humidity out here has been rough.
Yeah,
I can deal with heat. Obviously growing up in California, it gets hot out there, man. So I can deal with flat out heat, but the humidity, when I can't escape it, you know what I mean? Yeah. In California, it's a dry heat, but when you're outside, it's hot, the sun's beating down on you, it's real hot, but you can go underneath a tree or go inside and cool off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't escape humidity, bro. It's like you're wearing that like an extra layer of clothing.
Yeah, and then there's no oxygen in the air. It's
hard
to breathe, and it's like, oh my goodness, where's the oxygen at?
Exactly. I just walked from the house to the car.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to sit down.
Yeah, man. I feel like I've been able to endure the heat as well, and just for Texans in general, it's been overbearing. Man,
yeah, that's a different heat.
I've heard people have been saying the same thing. It's like, yeah, I've been able to handle the heat, but how it's been 108 on average on every day on the weather app. It says excessive heat warning. Excessive heat warning, and it hit 113 one day.
And what's the air quality with that too, right?
That you know what, right? Exactly. Like I said, and in Texas is supposedly one of the top 5 areas of allergens as well, in addition to the humidity, the heat.
Looks like I'm not going to Texas.
Yeah, right? The kids, Tyson had to take an allergy test, because his nose is just always stuffed up. People out here.
Seasonal allergies?
Yeah, no, but there's not necessarily seasonal, because I guess there's a lot of mold out here, and then there's a couple of other pollens that are in San Antonio. So it's just it's almost a year round. He tested for. Actually, I can't even tell you what he tested for. I can't even remember. I have to tell you. I probably should know.
He was tested.
Yeah, man. Life has been crazy, man. We talked about how Amanda was in an accident on May 21st, and still dealing with that process of going back and forth of trying to figure out if the car was going to be totaled or not. And then we just found out about a week and a half ago that they were actually going to total it, and then the State Farm was at fault, and so they were supposed to be responsible for it, and then they were trying to call it a total loss, and had to switch over to my insurance because there was a cap limit, and it's just a whole bunch of bullshit, man. Like to be honest, I've been getting no feedback. Nobody's calling me. Nobody's answering. Like
insurance
our rental
is the worst,
agreement is
man.
up, and I mean, yeah, bro. And then finally, we thought it was all over when we returned our rental car, and supposedly there were some system malfunctions between Hertz and the insurance company, and so we end up getting billed $845 from the rental company, right? And so I've been having to go down to Hertz like almost every other day to try to get this situation resolved because nobody's hitting me back, and I got these charges on our account now that I'm not understanding why, and then talking to the Hertz people. And they're like, "Oh, well, it's not our fault. It's on Progressive's end. There's nothing we can do."
And it doesn't matter what it's for, if it's for car, health, house, homeowners insurance or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. They are all putting their hands up like, "Hey, no, it's not our responsibility."
Right,
We shouldn't have to pay
they're
for
flipping
it.
over their screen, like, "Here, look, this is what the system says." Right?
Yeah,
I'm like, man, like, I don't care what the system says. Like, what's going on here?
You're right. Fuck you on my phone. I'm like, that's what my system says. All right.
Right, and so, man, it's been a crazy of a summer, man. But I think we're finally getting to the bottom of it. Just got the check from the insurance company for our car, and so now we're car searching, but we're down a car. And so I've been having to, drive Amanda to work, on a daily basis, drop her off, pick her up, take the kids to, gymnastics, school, and all that other stuff that's been going on. So, just like anybody else in the world, life hits hard,
Quick.
I had, what was it, yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, bro. Like, literally, yesterday morning, I had a little bit of a breakdown. I had a little bit of a breakdown. I had to get on my knees and pray to God, bro. Like, because I'm like, man, this is hitting me hard right now.
Yeah, it's getting
just trying
rough.
to figure everything out. And you obviously, there's a whole bunch of other things that factor in and that play into the day and the obstacles. I'm just talking about the main things that happen. But dealing with kids alone, it's always going to be a little bit of stress, and just everyone's dealing with their own battles, right? And so, like, with the people around us, like their stress is a part of our stress. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to,
everybody carries it. Everybody,
Right,
like you were just saying, with what you have going on, and there are other factors that tie into it. Everybody else has that same situation. Everybody approaches a situation carrying what they deal with, on a daily basis throughout their entire lives that led to that point, right? And
Yeah, right.
it's not always, good and positive, the most recent things that happened that led to that point. And so, not everybody has great responses to things. Not everybody,
it's
and
real
then
rough.
in turn, like you may not have a good response, and some, one thing I found with myself, after I almost want to call it like this grand awakening, right? In my early 30s, I was able to kind of really take a look at myself in the mirror and and just assess the situation a little bit better and start handling things a little differently. I had just a little bit different of a mindset towards it, and ever since then, I've noticed that when I don't act right towards the situation, I carry that with me. Like, that bothers me. Like, as soon as I'm removed from a situation, like, man, I don't like how I handle that. Like, it really bothers me if I don't handle something the best way that I can. And the more that I have that mindset, I've noticed the more often I'm handling things better, or
It's
at
about
least
that
catching
self-awareness,
myself. Yeah, exactly. Because
that's that
we're always in
conscious
a
effort.
mood. You can never help your mood, right, or how you're feeling. You wake up and you haven't been able to start the day the right way, and things start snowballing real quick.
Yeah.
Especially with kids.
It's like that movie I was about to bring up. Have you seen that movie Red? Not Red, Angry Birds. I'm sorry, Red from Angry Birds.
Nah, we haven't seen.
You haven't seen Angry Birds?
No.
I mean, it's in plenty of movies, but like Red, he's like an angry bird, right? And
I'm familiar
Angry
with
Birds.
it.
Right. So he's falling from this tree and he's just like he's hitting every branch on the way. It's like smack and then just smack. And it's just like, it's kind of like life right now, man. It's just like, boom, it's a snowball. It's, everything is just piling down. I like to use Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs, bro, because I just feel like that's how, like you said the other day, like when it rains, it pours, man. And it's been coming down tough. It's been coming down tough. So we're back at it, though. You know what I'm saying? The enemy is going to knock us off our feet. The enemy's going to knock us off our feet, so we just got to make sure we're continuing to get up, man. And
that's it.
Yeah, man. And this process has been such a blessing. And, you know, it's crazy because yesterday was a rough day. Mm-hmm. However, God showed me that he was present, you know, and allowed me to get through. Woke up this morning and it was like it's like I shed skin, and it was like I was like renewed, you know. It was just like, man, just so grateful for where my mind is at, you know, because we have to go through the fire, and, you know what I'm saying? That's why they say that the path is narrow, bro, you know, because when we're on this path of trying to continuing to get better for ourselves, the enemy is trying to throw us off track always. Mm-hmm. Man. So it's all so the process is crazy, and, you know, I'm just praying that, you know, the people continue to follow us on this journey, you know, as we continue to grow, because like there's just the new awareness, and it's just so much life, and like we said, like this process of trying to be a better person, better husband, better wife, better father, a better wife, better father. I guess that goes for everyone. Like there's things, like we said, you have to deprogram, you know what I'm saying? You have to be conscious and aware of how you're responding to things, and you know how you're reacting to things, and just continuing to be in that mode of getting better. And it's rough, bro. Like I said,
it's not easy, man. It's not easy. Like you said, especially with kids involved, man, because you always have to put what you have going on pause. Right. Yeah, like you just have to, if nothing else, at least to address their situation at hand. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know, however you're feeling, you got something going on, and then, you know, the kids are hungry or something like that, or you're running late for practice, or, you know, something, whatever it is, fill in the blank, right? It's never at a convenient time, you know. Even the people that are like, you know what, I'll get up earlier tomorrow and have that morning for myself, and then for whatever reason the kids decide to get up early that day, right? You know what I mean? And then, you know, it's like you said, you know, like, man, now I can't even get up early. I'll never have time for myself. But, that, like you just said, you're always going to get knocked down. You're always going to get hit. I don't care who you are. In some way, shape, or form, you're going to get hit. You're going to get knocked down. But a lot of people, not everybody, some people, I should say, are able to immediately hop back up, dust themselves off, and keep on going. Some people, they're a little slower to get back up, you know, but they still get up and then they get back going. Some people just stay down. And then they pull the whole, you know, man, you know, every time I get up, I get knocked down, and why me? You know, that hurt, and nobody knows how hard this is for me, type of thing. And meanwhile, everybody is going through that same thing. It looks different for them, but they're all going through that similar, you know, that similar event, but they're just getting up. You just have to get up. You got to keep going in whatever way you can.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And going back to the breakdown I had yesterday, you know, sometimes you just need to let it out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah, man. It's trying to hold it all in, you know, like it's sometimes it's too much, and that's why God is great, because he takes and holds those burdens for us. And it was like, it kind of like wiped a layer of dirt, you know, that was just a layer of dirt that was just fogging my eyes, you know what I'm saying? It was just allowed me to kind of like see clearly and see like the next step that I needed to take, man. And so, you know, I was truly grateful for that. So now we're
trying to hold it in, like you that's where all your energy is going, is trying to hold that back, and instead of, you know, releasing it and then allowing yourself to move past it, type of thing. I went through the same thing 2-3 days ago. Had a few things happen with the house. You know, we moved into this house a little under 2 years ago, and we've just had issues with it ever since day one. And almost 2 years later we're still having issues, and something new happened the other day, and after a few things with work and stuff like that, and financial stuff, and then having something drop, having something happen at the house, I just had the same thing. I had a moment of breakdown, and just like I even said to myself, because I was walking the dog to go to the bathroom, and I felt it inside of me, and I was like, do I need to cry right now? Like, do I need to just let this out? You know what I mean? And just from the walk to take him to the bathroom and back to the house, it was just coming out as I had that thought, that realization. It was already starting to come out. So I was like, man, let me run upstairs real quick, get by everybody, beeline it. I gotta get something upstairs, and just let it out real quick. And it wasn't even 5 minutes, and then I hear my daughter calling me, Dada, dinner's ready. All right, I'll be right down, thank you.
Man, the kids,
and then wipe it off, and I was good, and then I was almost great after that.
Yes, exactly. Likewise, bro. It's just like that express, and just that reveal, not reveal, but just like the release. Just
the release from the mental warfares.
Yes, bro. This real men cry, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine myself, years ago, just trying to be a tough cookie, bro, trying to be a tough guy, man, because it's not healthy. It's not. And everyone's dealing with demons, man. And so the more that you keep it inside, the more you're having to deal and battle the enemy inside your brain, because that's where it's at, man. We are all just pointing the blame at other people and just trying to figure out like why our lives are so, in shambles at times, and we're always pointing the blame at other people, and the competition is really with ourselves. The competition is in our head. We're always battling our own thoughts. I was literally in the car the other day, and I was having some doubt about something, and I was literally going back and forth in my mind, like, nah, that's not it. You know what I'm saying? You got this. It's like, well, shit, maybe. Well, maybe it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, get that shit out of your head. It's negative. I'm literally talking to myself like that. I was like, nah,
I do that internal conversation. I do that all the time. And I started catching myself and saying, like, if you have to argue with yourself about it, you know what the answer is.
Hey.
But you're trying to come up with excuse or whatever it is. Like, you know what the answer is, so just do it.
Yeah, bro. Because
you sit there and it's I could work out, but I'm kind of tired. And, I didn't sleep good last night. I didn't eat too much. I'm kind of hungry right now, and you start coming up with all these excuses. It's like the answer. Just go do it real quick. You're hungry, do it real quick, and then eat after. Like, bro, no matter what it is, you can find that solution, but just do it. Just figure that part out. Just do it.
Later is never better. Like,
ever.
Maybe the one time out of the 10, by putting something off until later. It's always, for me, something always pops up, and it makes it more difficult to complete the
task. Even like getting gas. Like, on my way home, I'm like, I'll get gas tomorrow morning. Tomorrow you wake up the next day and you go, fuck.
I should have just got gas. Like,
damn, I should have just got gas last night. I don't even have time to get gas right now.
For real.
So no matter what it is, bro. No matter what it is.
Man, so you think that it's easier to put it off until later, and in fact, it's always harder, bro. Like, why do we do that to ourselves?
Self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. You said it the best, bro. You said it the best.
There's an athlete. I don't know if you've heard of him or not in the UFC. John Jones. He was known for being arguably the greatest fighter, mixed martial artist ever. And anyways, start without going down a different path. But he was known for being a big partier and like doing drugs and drinking and doing all kinds of stuff like the weeks leading up to the fight. So that way, if the fight never went his way, he always had like a built-in excuse. Well, I didn't train the hardest, I was partying, I did all this type of stuff. He always kept on winning and shit. So it was like, so maybe that's the secret right there. But
that's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, one of the greatest fighters ever. Look him up. The dude is just a beast. But that was kind of his thing for the longest time. And as far as we know, he seems to have since turned his life around in different ways. But I think a lot of people do that similar type of thing. You almost come up with reasons to, just in case it doesn't work out, I have an excuse to fall back on why it didn't work out. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I didn't eat as much as I should have. I didn't stretch beforehand, and now I don't have enough time. Or whatever the case is. Again, fill in the blank. Whatever the situation, a lot of people just come up with those reasons as to why they can't be the best at something. And I talked about it before with my drawings and stuff like that, and even just in sports or whatever it was. Like if I didn't think that I could be one of the top tier ones at it, I didn't want to do it. Instead of just doing something for the love and joy of it, if I enjoy it, just do it because you enjoy it. And if you want to get better at it, put in that work to get better at it, man. Like, you're not always going to just walk into a situation and be the best at it. So, put in that work and get better and earn it that way type of thing. I didn't have that growing up. Like, I didn't have that mindset. And
for sure. A lot of us don't.
Exactly. And now that I'm older, again, we had that conversation the other day about the shoulda, woulda, couldas of life, right? How we wish that we had the mindsets that we have now. We wish we had it back, in our early 20s or whatever. And I still go through that frustration every day, right? Because I'm not in a place to where I can make the same moves that I would have been able to make in my early 20s. Because I'm married and have a different job or have kids or whatever the case is. Again, coming up with excuses, right? But able to find something that I do want to put my time and energy towards, and finding a way of how I can incorporate that into the life that I do have. Instead of continuing that same path that we were talking about, just, we're 36, 37 years old. We lived a certain way for so long, and just continuing to have that same mindset going forward. But nah, man, we're at a place in our lives now where we're able to start catching ourselves and assessing our situations and seeing what moves we want to make in what directions. And we've learned from those mistakes of those past, from our past, of just having those frustrations and doing things the wrong way, and then allowing that to consume us and not make any moves at all.
Man, for real, man. And it's just really goes back to just being, excuse me, consciously aware. So I've also started being more aware of my thoughts. Where are my thoughts at? What am I cycling right now? What am I thinking about right now? Mm-hmm. And that's why it's important for me to have my journal so I can get in tune with those thoughts and just...
That's important, man, because how many times have you thought of something and then something will happen and then you forget about it? And then it's like, fuck, I wish I would have wrote that down or whatever.
Man, I had so many great thoughts this morning. I was sitting in the bed. I should have just got up and put them down on paper. So I could have had those ideas down. Those, got to put them down. You'll forget it. There's so many distractions that allow us to just change the pattern of the way that we're thinking. We forget about those type of stuff. We're easily distracted in any type of way.
Oh, yeah.
It happens all the time. Mm-hmm. But going back with what you talked about, with getting to it and finding your purpose and doing the work, putting in the work to do it, to get there. Obviously it's a long path and it's a process. But a lot of us are on this earth living a life in the mindset like we're going to live forever. And for a lot of us, it takes a rude awakening for us to be like, well, oh shit, well maybe life isn't forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking to a couple of my boys the other day, and I was like, I hadn't worked out, you know, I hadn't got on a bike and flush for a while. And man, I was like feeling shortness of breath. Like my chest was tight, and I'm like, man, what the hell is this? Right? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, oh, see, like, nah, like that's not cool, right? You know what I'm saying? Like 36, you know, that's like midlife right there. I mean, what's the average? 75? 75 is the average.
Is that the average?
Is that the average, right? Man, I don't know, bro. But
I don't know why the early 80s is sticking out in my head, but 81.
okay, maybe it is now, especially with modern day medicine, and it's the way people are living now, or figuring out how to live a bit longer.
Never know.
But man, speaking of that tangent, man, I'm looking on Instagram and I'm seeing these high school basketball players collapsing and dropping on the court. I mean, Bronny James was one of them. You know, thank God he's good. But I just saw a couple that just passed away, high schools, 23-year-olds, and I'm like, where is this coming from? It's crazy because we don't know. We don't have time, bro. Like, time is the common denominator in everything we do. And time is going to be the word. I mean, for me, I'm going to continue to bring up time. Like, it's just to instill it in other people's brains.
It's all we have.
Instill the mind. That's all we have.
That's literally all we have. And what we make of it is what life is all about.
Exactly, right? Because we need time to work, right? We spend most of our lives working, right? You know, 8 hours of the day. But we also need that same time to build relationships. You know what I'm saying? Because relationships take time to build, right? And so we're spending all of our time trying to figure out this job, and we're, you know, trying to figure out what our purpose is. Like, we're losing that time to spend with our families. That's why we need to try and get to it ASAP. You know, like, I'm trying to get to it ASAP. Like, this is like, I'm tired of waking up like stiff and like my knees are crackling when I get out of the bed. You know what I'm saying?
I've been living that way for 25 years. My body's been cracking and popping. But no, I hear you, man.
A lot of our dreams physically kind of go down the toilet because we kind of just let life happen and we don't really do anything.
That's where I'm at, you know, wanting to get back into shape because, like you were saying, you know, a part of my mental growth coincides with my physical growth.
Absolutely.
And so wanting to get back into shape and realizing that I can't do that the way that I used to do it. You know, I used to just be able to walk in, you know, stretch real quick, lift, work out, and then that was it, you know, feel good. Yeah. And now, you know, I got to take my time. That stretch isn't real quick anymore, and it's got to be like a nice deep one. I've been, you know, especially ever since we had Trisha on the show, I've been doing more yoga in the mornings, along with stretching, and then I noticed my workouts after those days, like noticeably different. I mean,
absolutely,
major gains when I take that time to slow down and do things properly. I'm not that spring chicken anymore, you know, and I realize that, you know, 37 is still young. I still have plenty of time left as far as, you know, as long as nothing pops up. But, you know, I got plenty of time to really do this the right way.
Yeah, to change it around. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, mid 30s is like when there's the time when like you start feeling your body break down, but it's not too late. You know, there's people in the 40s.
It's never too late.
Great shape.
Exactly.
Great shape, you know, and so like I'm trying to be one of those, you know, those hot fit dad bods at 40. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm trying to redefine.
Yeah, for real. And I'm trying to, like, you know, if I'm gray, I'm trying to look good gray. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got gray coming in my mustache now.
Don't
I'm
even
like,
get me started, bro.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
Mirror,
like, where is
pulling them out and shit.
Right, bro. Yeah,
Not
I got
ready
this
for that one.
Right. I got the tweeters and I'm yanking and I'm like, nah, this can't stay. This can't stay. And I feel like it comes in numbers too. It comes back with a couple of friends. And so I'm like, bro, I gotta stop being so damn stressed out here, bro.
That's it.
For real, gotta stop being so stressed, man. And like you said with that yoga, establishing that body and mind connection, man. Just
exactly.
It's a way of release. It's a way to like it's a form of meditation is what I meant to say. A form of meditation, just like relaxing the mind, relaxing the heart. You know what I'm saying, and trying to get in tuned with that body and with that mind and body, man. Because the body can't move without the mind can't move the body if the body can't move. You know what I'm saying? If we're crippled and just like not crippled, but like just limited, immobile, like hurting and stuff like that, we're not able to do the things that we want to do in life, and being a trainer, working with elderly people, like I said before in other episodes, that it's been a blessing because they come in there and they're like, I got grandkids, I want to be able to run with my grandkids. I want to be able to move my grandkids, and seeing how unhappy they are because of how limited they are, mobily. It's sad to see, and a lot of people are angry and just frustrated from it, and like I don't want to be that way, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to get to that age to where now life is unbearable, like life is rough because I can't move.
Just being alive is hard.
Yes, exactly. Right. And you can see it on people's face. They're bitter and stuff like that, and so like it's this daily, taking it step by step, like I've literally have adopted that method of taking it day by day. And it's a process, like to get in there, because trying to think, it's important to think, down the line, but we can't operate down the line. We can't operate down the line. I want to say that. I would say I would like to live in the future, but we can't think about the goals and the dreams of where we're trying to be, and get discouraged because we're not there yet, man. Because working on our daily goals is important enough. We gotta be in the now, be present, and just making sure that we're preparing for the next day, because that's all we really have,
Well, it's one of those, be in the now, be present with the future in the back of your mind.
Exactly.
You want to make sure.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly. You want to make sure that you're heading towards a destination and not just walking aimlessly type of thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, what comes with that is taking it step by step. How do I get to that destination? Well, I take this first step. All right. Now what do? I take that second step, and that's what it is. That's how you got to look at it.
What's your next step? You sent me that that clip on Instagram with the dude. He was talking about the story, and I forget what the story, what the name of the story was or the book was, but he was just talking about, man, he's like, I can't see where I'm going or whatever, and then dude asked him like, well, what's your next step, or can you see your next step? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, well, just take that next step.
Start there.
Because we get caught up. All of us get lost at times, even when we're on that path, of where we want to go and where we want to be. But sometimes thinking about where we want to be is discouraging. And, that's where a lot of us that's where a lot of us fall off and stop and quit.
Because you look at the destination, and then you think, and then you look at all the things that you have to do to get there, and that's when you get discouraged. It's like, that's too much. I can't do all that. And it's like, you don't have to do all of that right now.
Right.
Like you just said, what's that first step? What's that next step that you have to do? Eventually, you'll go there. Like you were saying, you said this to before, and I think I've heard somebody else say that, used a similar reference. To build a brick wall, you just lay it brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
That's it. Man. You're not throwing half the wall up all at once. You know what I mean?
Can't.
Like, all right, I got this section right here. Let me put it up there. Like, it doesn't work like that. It has to go brick by brick. It's the same thing. If you want to get to your destination, you just take it step by step. What's that next step? And just go from there.
Yeah, bro. I've been like the chapter that I've named. I've named my chapter, the chapter of my life, and it's the foundation. That's what I named this chapter of my life right now. Just trying to build it. Starting from the ground, because every structure starts from the ground. You know what I'm saying? And every building starts from the ground, and you have to build the structure first, right?
Yep.
And so that's where I'm at right now. Building the foundation. I'm trying to build the structure. And then after the structure is built, that's when you start, putting in the piping, and you start doing all that other stuff. Like
it's filling it all in, putting it up.
Yeah, but so it's a process, right? And so, a lot of us are so discouraged. First, it's getting out of that mental funk, that headspace of why me, poor me, why is this happening to me? Like no one understands. First we gotta break out of that. right? And just knowing that we're built for something more. And then the next step would be to just to continue and to try and build on that, and this process has been so amazing, because there's been so many levels of growth, and there's so many more levels to reach. Like, life is literally like a video game, bro. It's like it's like a little oh my gosh, can't talk right now.
Think about this, like at the beginning of this, even at the beginning of this episode, right? You were talking about how hard this summer has been.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, it was. And just like a video game, when you go through, or anything in life, when you go through that hard part, the game is easier at that point. And I feel like with everything that we have gone through as individuals and together, away from the podcast and on the podcast, this has been one of the best summers of my life, because I've learned and grown so much. Man. And it's also been one of the hardest summers of my life too.
For sure. Absolutely. We have to go through the fire to get to the other side, right? And like you said it perfectly. Like, it's been one of the greatest summers of my life, because of the amount of growth that we've been able to attain, man. Mm-hmm. It was just this morning, or it was yesterday morning. Gosh, I got my days mixed up. The days be running.
They all blend together. Yeah.
Man. But I woke up this morning and I felt amazing, bro. And it's crazy because it was like night and day from how I felt yesterday morning when I had the breakdown. But I'm just like, man, life. I mean, that's just the series of events, though, the sequence of events that happened yesterday, of just God being present and Him actually just taking care of everything. Mm-hmm. And I was renewed. Like, I knew it was like I passed a level. Right, it's like now I'm on the next level, and it's just like
leveled up.
Leveled
up.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Got new achievements. New achievements were unlocked. Got a few more tools added to your accessory belt. Man.
Like I've said this before, but my life is a game of Zelda for me. It's a game. It's a game of Zelda.
Love Zelda.
Huh?
I said I fucking love Zelda.
Oh, Zelda! It's such a classic, bro. It's such a classic, other than Super Smash Brothers. But when you wake up as Link, you wake up in your bed, and before you go out and fight any type of monsters, you gotta gather your sword. You gotta get your shield.
Get the shield.
You gotta learn how to use it. You got to get the tools up. You got to meet people. You got
to understand that there's a bigger world out there, and there's things going on other than the little problems you have inside your little village.
Exactly. And so after you're able to get out of your village, then you go to the next level. You take down the Gorons or whatever the case is, and then
you got to meet the Great Deku Tree first.
Yeah. Hey. The little Deku Tree. Absolutely, right? You got to go in there and handle your business. You get the boomerang or whatever the case is. But you get those tools. You get those tools. You learn the skill of the tool, or whatever the tool that you get. You defeat the monster or whatever the enemy is at that time, and then you move on to the next level. You know what I'm saying? That's what life is about. Learning the new tools, learning new skills, applying them, defeating the monster, slaying the monster, and then moving on to the next monster. And that's what we have to. And that's what we have to do. And this is what we've been doing, right? And it's been, like you said, it's been amazing. Just getting through it. It's like you're going through the fire, and of course, there's going to be more fires to go through it, right? But it's just like now, I'm in the.
Well, that's the thing, is people don't realize, a lot of people will go through that, and then they make it through, and then something else will happen, and that's when it's like, man, I can't do this.
Right.
You gotta have that understanding that no matter what position you're at in life, something is going to come up, no matter what, in some way, shape, or form. Something is going to come, and it's going to test you. It's going to try to knock you off the path, like you said, and it's all a matter of, like we were talking about earlier, how you get back up. Are you going to get back up quick, dust yourself off, and move on? Are you going to get back up slow, heal your wounds a little bit, and then move on? Are you going to stay down and just have that, oh, poor me, this hurts too much, I don't think I could get up and do it anymore?
Right.
It's all a matter of you. I saw this I saw this video before from Joe Rogan, and he talked about being the hero of your own movie. Yep. If you were watching a movie and the hero of that movie is always going to do things that you are, not always, but is going to do the things that you're in favor of, that are going to get you to get past whatever conflict that you have and get the happy ending, right?
Yeah.
So do that. You know what the heroes do in the movies, so just do that.
Bro.
You see the people like yourself that you can relate to in a movie or a show, whatever, that do a lot of things that you don't like, and you call them out on it on the movie or show. Like, I don't, oh, they did this and that or whatever.
Yeah,
you call
for
that.
real.
You have no problem calling them out on that type of thing. But in real life, we don't call ourselves out on that type of shit.
Yeah.
We don't make those decisions that the hero would make, or we think about it, but we just, we settle back in again. We come up with those excuses on why, we can't do it, or why it would be too hard to do it, or, again, poor me, nobody else understands the issues that I have, and it's just too hard. I can't do that. You can do it. You can either do this or do that. Do that.
Right. Yeah. The way I've been seeing things is like I've been trying to simplify things, and I wanted to go back to that hero, the superhero movie, the hero thing, because I just watched Spidey, the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and bro,
Wait,
I was
the
so
new
hyped.
one?
Not the newest one, the first one.
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite
I watched
movies
it
of all
because I wanted
time.
to watch it over, and bro, man, this was literally before we jumped on here, and I was so hyped. Like,
one of
man,
my favorite movies.
Miles he figured it out, and like he became a hero. And I'm like, man, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah,
like,
the best part about that, right, is one of these small hidden details, right? Because he has that moment where he's up against the glass, and then he jumps off, and that's kind of like when he really becomes Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then he goes and he saves everybody pretty much. But one of the issues with Miles was that he kept sticking to things when he was nervous, and he couldn't like turn that off, type of thing.
Yeah.
If you notice in that scene when he jumps, he was still stuck to the glass. So when he pushed himself off, you see all the glass shatter as he pushes himself off, because he was still stuck to it. So he pushed himself past that moment.
Yeah.
He got to the same moment that he always got to. He was stuck to it. He was nervous. He didn't want to do it, but he knew what was the right thing, the best thing for him, and he was ready for it at that time. And he pushed past that moment, and he pushed past getting stuck, and that's how he was able to get to that next level. Right? He leveled up. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, man.
Bro, like, I don't even think that, I'm not even sure if I finished it, man. This right now is one of my favorite movies. I can't wait to see the second one.
So good, yeah.
My goodness, and I'm like, and I feel like it was what's the word I'm trying to say? I'm lost at words today, but I feel like it was a reflection of my life, bro. You know what I'm saying? I feel like after this past couple of weeks and everything that we've been going through this summer, I feel like I'm ready to be that one to push off that glass and just take that leap of faith. Because he was like, it's a leap of faith. And I'm heavy. Like, I'm like, leap of faith. I'm like, I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? And you said, be the hero of your own story. And we really, going back to the paths, we really only have two paths, bro. We either do the things that benefit us, or we do the things that don't. You know what I'm saying? And whatever those decisions are is going to lead us either to our greatest selves, or to our biggest demise. You know what I'm saying? And so I've really been just trying to simplify it and thinking about my thoughts in the sense of, okay, is the procrastination thing, like, is this going to be beneficial or not? Yeah. Like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So, like, let's make it beneficial. Let's just do it. You know what I'm saying? So we're not thinking like, oh shit, making excuses and then feeling like shit because we didn't make the right decision. Because a lot of us feel like shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we don't make the decision that we should have made, we're
9
not
times
happy
out
about
of
it.
10. Exactly. 9 times out of 10. You're like,
but what happens?
Just did it.
Right. What happens when we did do it? Like, I'm proud of myself. I'm so glad that I did that. And then it's so beneficial. I'm thinking about stretching right now. And this past week, bro, I've been stretching at night and literally starting to build that connection. And I've been sleeping so much better.
Right. I've been doing that too.
Bro,
and the stretch that I have at night, like, compared to the stretch that I get in the morning, it's completely different. Like, I feel more like worn at night from the day, right? And so when I stretch, I can feel that difference from when I stretch in the morning. But like you said, when I stretch at night, I sleep so much better, and I wake up feeling better that next day too.
Yeah,
like it's a good rest. You know, sometimes you could sleep a full 8 hours and wake up and just be like, man, that was
tired, and
that was not what I needed apparently.
Right, for sure. But before a couple of weeks ago, before a couple of weeks ago, man, like this whole summer, not even just whole summer, man, it's like probably pretty much since we moved to Texas, I've been tossing and turning like in my sleep on a nightly basis, and let alone the heat. Like the heat just been kicking and just like not being able to sleep properly, and it affects your mood. It affects everything. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we restore our energy, and you know, just like continuing to build those habits, man, because you don't know what you don't know until you have experienced it. And then once you get that little taste, it's like, now I'm picking up on it. Well, now my body is almost craving it. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, exactly. That's that unconscious incompetence, right?
Yeah, for sure. And but the thing is too, it's like I feel like a lot of us, like you said, so we get past a level, and okay, now we're starting to feel better. And because we start feeling a little bit better, we fall off that same fire. Because I was even thinking about it too.
Here comes the next test.
Yeah, it's
leveled up. Here's the next test.
Exactly, it's the next test for real. And now that you said that, it reminded me. I follow this dude on YouTube. His name is Mark the Messenger, and he's a man of God. He be preaching the word and stuff like that. But he was talking about there's new levels, new devils. Do you know what I'm saying? New levels, new devils. And so meaning that, you know, every level that you get to, the devils are it's going to be harder, just like a video game.
Yeah,
you get to every level you get to, the enemy, the foe is harder to beat.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep that in our mind as well, and being mentally prepped, because it's not, once we get past level 1, it's not over. Like 2, 3, 4. I mean, there's levels to this.
Well, that was one of my biggest issues for the longest time. Was getting focused on a destination as opposed to being focused on the journey itself. Right.
Yes.
And
that's what I meant by the future. You know, putting ourselves where a lot of us put in. Sorry to cut you off, but a lot of us put ourselves in that mental state of wanting to be at the destination, and everything that happens, and like you said, with all the thoughts and like the task that we have to do to get there gets overwhelming. You know, and so go ahead.
Yeah. It's not same thing, man. Again, you know, just focusing on that one destination, and then once you get there, you know, either just allowing that to be it, you know, settling down, like, all right, I did it, that's it. You know, like we talked to KJ, you know, he had these milestones with that trip that he had on, right? You know, and he could have got to this point and stopped and said, hey, you know, that was enough, or you know, he could have got to that next point, and you know, he had all these different reasons that he could have stopped throughout the way, right? But he just wanted to let me just get here type of thing, and we'll see how I feel from there type of thing. Wake up the next day and he's like, all right, let's go. Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna go again type of thing. Again, not allowing yourself to succumb to the excuses, you know, and again, you touched base on it earlier.
Go ahead.
It starts with your mind. It starts with yourself catching your thoughts, like you were saying. You know, what am I thinking about right now? I'm like, I've literally caught myself trying to talk myself out of doing something, out of a workout.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
I was like, man, you know, if I go do this, I'm not going to have enough time to do that. And I was thinking about all these other things, like, nah, you know, you could just do it tomorrow, or you could do that. And I was coming, and I literally said to myself, would you hear yourself right now?
Yeah.
You're literally talking yourself. Knock that shit off. Let's go. And all I did was just like drop down, started doing push-ups, you know, got up, started doing squats. Like, it's something that simple. I thought about it and was like, all right, just do it. I don't need to go down all the way downstairs into the basement and get the weights ready and set the barbells up and get the, you know, everything going. And then like, it was just do it. I thought of something to do, and I just did it.
Do it.
It didn't.
I've been literally, when I be sitting on the couch, I've been literally trying to just master that process of what you're talking about. Just like
Capturing it.
I should probably do a set of push-ups right now. I'm just sitting there on the couch thinking about how I should be doing some push-ups right now.
Exactly.
Be link.
But my left shoulder's a little tight, man. I felt it when I opened the fridge earlier. And I don't know if I can. It's like, yeah, just stretch it real quick and do some fucking push-ups.
Right. Even with the handstands, it's like, man, I should probably get a handstand in right now. And a couple of times I've talked myself out of it. But then, blessings to our thread. But like a couple of other times, it's like you guys holding me accountable, and it's like, man, I gotta go do this.
Yep.
And it's so crazy how the enemy works, man. He stays in our minds. He stays in our mind, trying to throw us off.
But I'm trying to focus more on brushing that dude off.
Dude, I mean,
like, all right, get out of here, man. All right, nice try. You did it. There you were. I saw you. Ooh, you want my attention? I see you. Now I'm moving on, type of thing. Like, just brushing that off, and not again with your mindset. What are you focusing on? What are you putting your attention to? What are you putting your energy to? What are you putting your effort towards? Being mindful of that, being self-aware, capturing that, and redirecting yourself. Yeah. It's not if you're thinking about something, you can catch it.
Yeah, like thought to action. Yeah,
exactly. So you could purposely, it's like getting a song stuck in your head. I'll be sitting there singing a song over and over, like one line. I'll sing it on repeat, just over and over and over and over again. I'll drive myself crazy. So I'll start literally saying out loud, "Shut up." Shut up, shut up, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, just to stop and turn that off. But it's just taking action, like you said, acknowledging that you're having a mindset or you're thinking about something, or you're being negative, or you're talking negative, or whatever it is, and then capturing it, and then finding some sort of way to redirect yourself and just head down a different path. Because as soon as you start doing that, you're already that much better off. You're already heading down a better path, and you're going to start, with the same way that those negative thoughts can start compiling and getting that ball rolling. You could do that in a positive way too.
Exactly.
And something like you were saying with sleep and stuff like that, I think it's not just stretching right before bed. You're doing something to better yourself, and in turn, you're sleeping better because of that. You're doing something positive for yourself, and it just so happens that it happens to be physical. But I think just taking those steps and doing those positive things is really what contributes to living a happier, a healthier, just a better overall life. Being more rested when you sleep, feeling better when you wake up, and having a more steady mood throughout the day, as opposed to having all these peaks and valleys and ups and downs and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? If you just have that consistent, positive mindset as much as you can, instead of coming up with those excuses, because a lot of times, even when we get upset and we even think about being upset, well, we want to justify it because whatever happened, like you did something you knew that you should, like talking about with your kids, you did something that you knew was wrong, you did it anyways, and that upsets me, right? And so I have a reason to be upset, so I'm going to yell, I'm going to be angry because you gave me a reason, instead of just catching yourself like, I don't need to be upset like to that degree type of thing. I can get my message across a different way or whatever. I can go about this a different way, as opposed to allowing yourself, because you have an excuse, you have a reason, you feel justified in doing it, and allowing that negative to get the better of you because of the situation at hand, as opposed to taking that extra step to be better in spite of those reasons that you have to go the other way.
Yeah, bro, and that kind of brings me to the thought of a couple of thoughts, with the whole kid thing. And we're so hypocritical as humans, you know what I'm saying, especially when we have kids. And where I'm going with that is, like, they say that the body is the flesh, and the flesh of the world, right? And the enemy is what runs the world, right? And so you can see that on many different levels. And so I was listening to some podcast. It was Impact Theory, I believe. And this guy's on there. He's talking about how the flesh and the body is the subconscious, right? And like those voices in our head are telling us not to do it. It's our body talking to us, not wanting us to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we want what we want. You know, we want, you know, the desires of the body and the flesh and stuff like that, right? And so I've been trying to install this concept of treating myself like a kid, treating myself like a dog or whatever, right? Because like when you train a dog, when we get a dog, right, a dog is untrained, right? Unless you got it that I was all trained, but you have to tell the dog, you have to teach the dog to sit, right? And you have to make him sit. You know what I'm saying? You got to give him a treat. You got to do whatever
Show
it takes
him
to
how,
train him.
yeah.
Same thing with kids. You know, we get mad at our kids for doing something that we don't want them to do. And, you know what I'm saying, we discipline our kids in whatever fashion that looks like, but we don't do it to ourselves, you know? And so the concept that I've been trying to install is like, treat your body like a dog. You know what I'm saying? In terms of training it. Train it. Mm-hmm. Tell your body to shut up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stop crying.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Sit down. Like, go do some push-ups. Like, and we really have to. I'm really trying to install that.
I don't want to. I don't care if you don't want to. This is what's good for you. You got to do this.
Exactly. Isn't that what we tell our kids? Right? Isn't that
exactly?
Like but we do the same thing to ourselves.
Yeah.
And so like we're definitely hypocritical beings, man. We need to treat ourselves like we treat our kids. Like
be the hero of your own movie. Be the hero of your own movie.
Yeah. Exactly. You know,
make those decisions that you know are right. You know they're right because, like you just said, you told your kids to do it.
Exactly.
So, like you said, tell yourself to do it. Hold yourself accountable in that sense. Almost treat yourself like a third person. How would you tell that somebody else in your same exact situation? What would you tell them? How would you tell them to respond? Exactly. It's so easy to be emotionally removed from the situation and be able to think clearly on what to say. And that's why when you're in the heat of the moment, somebody would, like, say you're in an argument or something like that, right? Or somebody comes at you and does something, and then you walk away from it and you're like, man, I should have said this. I should have said that. I should have hit dude. Right? Or, you know, you think of all these other things because you're emotionally removed from that situation. Yeah. In the heat of the situation, your emotions are running, you know, everything's going on. You're taking in, adrenaline's kicking in, you know what I mean? So once you're calmed down and you're emotionally removed from it, you're able to think clearly in all these different things that should have happened or should have said or whatever the case is. So treat yourself in that sense. If you're able to give other people advice on certain things when you're at a time that you're calm, because obviously not in the heat of the situation, in the heat of the moment, but when you have that moment at the end of the day or first thing in the morning, whenever it is, have that time for yourself, that self-reflection. Maybe it comes in the form of meditating or praying or whatever the case is, but just having that time for yourself to think about what you're doing, how you want to handle it and go about it the same way that you would give somebody else advice.
Yeah.
And I think if a lot more people did something like that, because I've been doing that more with myself. I don't do it all the time. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm still a work in progress, and I hope I continue to be a work in progress, right? But you know, I'm doing it more and more in adapting those practices, in adopting those practices into my daily habits, so that way I can have a better chance of catching myself in the heat of the moment and having those better responses and reactions in that heat of the moment, in the fire, when the emotions are flying and the adrenaline's running. I'm still able to think clearly because I've practiced calming down and thinking things clearly on how I want to go about this type of thing.
Absolutely. And it kind of reminds me of the David Goggins interview that I was listening to, and he was like, one day I just recorded myself, and excuse my language, he's like, I recorded myself and I played it back and I listened to myself, and he's like, man, you sound like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yeah,
he's
bro.
An
and I wonder,
dude.
I wonder, because even for myself, I wonder how many of us would actually put our thoughts and our feelings out on a recorder and play it back. And I'm sure a lot of us wouldn't, because a lot of us don't hold ourselves accountable, you know, for the actions and decisions.
I feel like some people would, you know, I'm sure plenty of people wouldn't, but some people would. But how many of those people would show other people that recording. Let them listen to it. Right? You may listen to it back and be like, oh, delete that, Nobody needs to hear that shit.
Right, exactly.
I don't need to hold myself that accountable. But, in all honesty, like, maybe you should. Maybe you need to put yourself out there. And that's one of the things about these podcasts, too, is ever since we started doing this, I am now holding myself to a higher standard for myself. And I've raised the bar the more I come on here because I realize that I'm putting myself out there. And I don't want to be full of shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to be just talking out of my ass and not living the things that I'm talking about because that obviously people are going to pick up on that. If you're not being genuine, if you're not being legit about what you're doing, sooner or later you're going to be exposed in some degree. And that's not why I'm here. You know what I mean? The reason for these podcasts is to help ourselves heal, grow, and build and do that with each other, connect people, and you can't do that if you're being full of shit. If you're not being legit.
Exactly, and that's the only way to connect is having that truth. You know what I'm saying? That's the only will. That's the only way that you're going to establish that bridge of connection. So that's the only way that you're going to be able to grow. And so we have to be honest with ourselves. And it's like, well, am I doing that? Am I applying those tactics, those ideas, those concepts to my own life? Mm-hmm. And which brings me into my next thought. I started, the investigation wall. I started my own investigation wall. The FBI, they got a whole bunch of like pictures and
with the pins and the rope sticking to it.
The ropes, right? And so I printed out a couple of words, man, and I'm going to put that up there. What I just talked about of training myself like a dog, and just so I can have those freshly reminders. But I've been doing that just so I can have fresh reminders on a daily basis, daily concepts key concepts that are going to help me develop in life, and just so I'm holding myself accountable. Because now that I've said I need to train myself like a dog, well, shit, I need to train myself like a dog, and I need to make sure that I'm doing it at a level that's going to continue to allow us to make strides. And so, like the next time I'm like, shit, I gotta do some push-ups. Like I better get my ass on the ground and do some push-ups. But it's like you said, it's just continuing to try and hold ourselves accountable and continuing to get better, because there's always a phase to where it's like, damn, we don't feel like doing it. We're tired, relaxed, you know what I'm saying? We're comfortable. Like going back to the stretching thing, it's like, oh man, well, like my shoulder's feeling my shoulder's feeling a little loose today. I'm actually feeling pretty good today. Maybe I don't need to stretch. And it's like, nah, like
it's the best time to stretch.
Yeah, like build on it more. Like feel even better. You know what I'm saying? Like get even better. And so now I'm just too excited for the future, because I'm anxious. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to be at my destination. So I got to dial it back a little bit. But like I can't wait to continue to build on just myself and just the new levels that I've already reached, man. It's definitely a blessing, man. And there's no time. Again, going back to that time, and, it's grateful to have kids. That kind of gets repetitive too, because they're the example, the representation of time. They're growing in front of our eyes, and just allowing us, to be present. Just to be able to reflect. And a lot of us are in situations to where we're not present, and we're not able to reflect with kids, and we're so caught up again in our lives that we're unaware of what we have in front of us and what we're capable of, and all the rest of the good stuff. And so, man, it's just about, like we talked about, being aware, knowing that we're built for something greater. Like we have purpose in our lives. We're all a member, right? We're all like, if everybody in the world was a person, you know what I'm saying? Like we can't have one arm without the other, or like we're all built in a system, you know what I'm saying, that works together. And so right now we're dysfunctionally connected, you know what I'm saying? And it's like the spider universe, and it's just like everything is just starting to crack open, and everything's all what's the word? You know how all staticky, it's just like we're all just everywhere. And man, if we can all just get on this path of just trying to be better, the world will just be a better place in general, but a lot of us are unaware of the enemy, and just just being thrown off our tracks, and like you said, a lot of us just stay down, and we're just like, okay, well, we're content, we're good with where we're at, and, you know, so I'm just going to stay here because, well, shit, you know, this is where I'd rather be. It's comfortable here, so I don't got to, you know, go through any struggle, you know, so I'm just gonna stay here. But man, like, there's so much life to live, and there's so many people out there that envy celebrities, and when you see a celebrity, bro, like, they're human.
That's it. I was just talking about this the other day, that I used to literally look at celebrities like they weren't human.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and then you would hear of, like, certain celebrities would pass away, and, you know, this person died, or this person, you know, something happened to this one, and then you'd be like, really? Like, every time a celebrity dies, we're all like, what?
Right.
Like even Betty White was 99 years old, and everybody was like, whoa, like, hold on now. Like, you know, we just look at them so differently. And again, literally everything on this planet is living, and what you know, what goes with life is death.
Yeah.
And in anyone that can come at any time. And
Man.
so just, again, without letting that thought alone consume you, just take it day by day. Make the best of this moment right here, right now. Do the best that you can do, whatever that is, right here, right now. I've even heard this quote before. How you do anything is how you'll do everything.
Oh, I've been using that a lot.
If you half-ass anything, you'll half-ass everything.
Exactly.
Like you said, you got to teach yourself that repetition. This is how we do things. I see things through, no matter what that is. I see this workout through. I see this you know, this run through, this walk through. I'm going to see this day through. You know, whatever it is, see it through and build that reputation for yourself, with yourself, that you're somebody that now sees things through, that finishes, that gets to the end. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. It doesn't matter if you did it by yourself, or if you were first, or if you were last, or if you were in the middle of this big old crowd that was doing it. Do it for yourself. And that's all that you need to focus on.
Man, and it's crazy because it's really only the mindset, you know, that separates the 5% from the other 95%. Like, there's no special formula, bro. Like, it's simple.
Just make the moves. Just baby steps.
Just make the moves. Baby steps. Like, we look at them, and it's like, man, when they hit the scene, it's like, oh man, they got this big ass house. You know what I'm saying? They got the Lambo, but they don't think about, we don't see what happens behind the scenes, the blood, sweat, and tears, right? Because everyone's story has a similar component in it. Now, every successful person has a similar component. Like, they all went through the fire. They all did. They all cried at some point. You know what I'm saying? The blood, sweat, and tears is a phrase for a reason, because it's not easy. You know, the enemy is at all levels. You know what I'm saying? And they're just reaping the benefits of doing the hard work, taking that step day by day, and putting one foot in front of the other until they got to where they needed to get to. And that's it. I mean, it's a lot easier said than done, but it's simple. Like, it's not like there's no formula, there's no trick formula, there's no hidden code, you know, to how to be successful. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously,
no
finding
user's
out your purpose,
guide, cheat code, manual, or anything like that.
I mean, obviously, trying to find your purpose is, you know, a challenge at times, trying to figure out what we're supposed to do. But getting to it is it. You know, and getting back up when we fall, because we're going to fall. Life is a series. Life is failure. Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, we can put it in our minds.
We talked about it last time, you know, with the babies and walking.
Yes. You know, life is failure. I mean, that's we're in the decisions that we make. It's like, oh shit, damn, I should have done this differently, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now the next time it happens, I'm going to approach it differently. It's the same thing. Like, we failed. We made the wrong decision. Okay, so let's make the right one next time. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's what life's about, bro. So,
that's it.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, we're back at
gentlemen. It. Yeah, we are back.
On the horse, man. Back on the horse, man. This feels really good, man.
Did feel good.
But all right, people of the world, man. Like, just woo. Like, it feels like it's been so long. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Too long.
Thank you guys for tapping in. That's going to wrap it up. Tap in, comment, do all the great stuff.
Share, tell your friends about us.
yes, connect, tap in.
Again, we've talked about it before. We want this to not just be a platform for us, because obviously we could be here all night and day talking about our personal growth. But again, we know due to the feedback from others that they're learning and growing and taking away things from these things too. So the more that this gets shared, the more people that are talking about it, the more people that are commenting, liking, being engaged with what we have going on, the more that this is going to grow, and the better that it's going to be for not just those people, but for everybody. Yeah. And the bigger that this is, it's just going to be that much better for everybody involved.
Let us know your story. Tap in. Reveal to heal. Expressing is healing. Saying flushing, getting it out. It's important for growth. It's
freeing.
Freeing. That's the path we're on to freedom.
That's it.
All sorts. All right,
everybody. Till next time.